great shame then, because he was a spanner in the works that certainly, well, I guess David and Dell would like to finish ahead of their rival, but put Phil Atkinson in the sandwich there. So
green flag at the back then, and looks like we're going to get ready for a race start here. So it's going to be all eyes to the lights. The red lights are on. The red lights go out then, and we are away. And it's a good start there from Dave Twyford and Dell Dowds, but Dave Lindemann then the 333 machine. How many times have we said that throughout the course of this season, Keith? It's Dave Twyford leading Dell Dowds, leading Dave Lindemann as they make the way in towards Coppice for the first time, of course. 8 times or 8 laps, I should say. They're split into 4 and 4, but they're with you now.
Twyford, Dowds, Lindemann. Right, Lindemann looks like he's going to go with these leaders. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away from him at all. Certainly the 3 have already managed to get away from Kev Lilly, who goes past in 4th place. He's already a second and a bit behind them, but the rest of the field there, and I think Dowds is pulling out on Twyford very early in the piece just to try and get that break, because Dell will know this is a 2-part race. He needs to try and beat his rival in both parts of this race to try and get a 10-pound or haul back 10 points in this championship. Here we go then into the gooseneck. That is Dowds leading Twyford. Lindemann is being dropped very slightly, only by a bike length or so at this early stage. So Twyford into Mansfield. Lilly's there as well. You see the sublime design machine of Steve Costin right in the mix there as well, looking good despite that big tumble he took the other day. Up towards the bottom of the mountain they go, no change in the order there, but Lindemann is not being dropped at this stage. He's starting to catch up with those two, and the thing is, if Dave can hang on to those two, he's going to learn a few little shortcuts around this circuit. We'll have to wait and see. We'll call the points at the end of the first half of the race, and then it'll be a battle for the second half of the race as well. So through the top they go. They're going to be working their way across the top, down through the hall bends, into the hairpin, and pass out Marshal of the Year, I believe, and then out of barn and back towards you, Bradley.
Yeah, here they come. Number 22, Dell Dowds, leads the way ahead of Dave Twyford and Dave Lindemann then. So first, second and third, it's 22 leading the 1, leading the number 333. I don't believe Twyford may have a transponder on that bike because he's dropping down the timing screen, but please be assured that he is still there on circuit in second place. So the top 3 separated by 1.3 seconds there. Kev Lilly a further 3.8 seconds behind the trio at the front of this race. He is 2.3 ahead of Freddie Bate. Then it's Steve Costin a further second behind in 6th place. Svensson makes up 7 positions there, but who have we got missing from the grid then? So get this, kid. It was Atkinson, Arban, May, Harvey, Johnson, Botto, Hurst, Griffiths, Catlin, Jarman, Burnley and Richards missing from the grid on this one. So 13 Minitwins out on the circuit, so at least you guarantee points.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lot of Minitwins to be racing, to be missing. We did think we'd be missing a few, that's for sure. Right, Dowds has got the bit between his teeth. There's no two ways about it. He is leading the way down through the gooseneck there. Just having a look, there's lots of chopping and changing on the screens, of course. Obviously, those gaps on the screen do allow these, on the grid, I should say, do allow these bits and pieces to change. I think Freddie Bates made some good moves there, because he came past me in 5th place here, and he started quite a way down the field, didn't he, Freddie?
Freddie Bate, I haven't got the grid sheet here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She threw that one away, yeah.
Freddie Bate, let's have a look there for you. Freddie
no,
Bate,
you're right, mate. Don't worry. It's on the point.
He was the middle of row number 4.
Okay, yeah, so about 11th on the grid. So he's made up half a dozen or so places there. So, yeah, good effort from him there. Paul making up a few places as well. Seb Barron going back by 1, but Hannah making up a few places. So, yeah, lots of chopping and changing, but obviously the interest really is out the very front as Dowds comes towards the line once again to click the timing beam. Over he goes, and he is leading by 2.5 seconds. And sorry, that's Twyford's problem transponder, isn't it there? Yeah, that corrects itself. He's leading by 0.6 of a second, and Twyford with the fastest lap there, mate.
Yeah, 1 minute 41.495 for Dave Twyford on that lap there. So 0.6 of a second advantage for Dell Dowds, as you mentioned. Dell Dowds ahead of Twyford, then Lindemann. And that is your top 3. Kev Lilly, Bate, Costin, Dan Black got the better of James Svensson on that lap. Then it's Lee Smith, Colin Hall, Seb Barron, Simon Wilkinson and Tristan Bohannon. So 13 riders all across the line then at the end of lap number 2, but the fastest of which was Dave Twyford with a 1 minute 41.495.
Yeah, Twyford is definitely not going to let this one go. He knows that the championship is between him and Dowds, and he doesn't want Dowds to get any sort of advantage, whether it be physical. So he's having a look down the inside of Mansfield, can't quite do it there. They're dropping Lindemann little by little, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, David, the lack of familiarity with the CadwellPark circuit is definitely working against him. He's been pretty quick everywhere where we go, but Cadwell is a very specialist place, as I really suspected that all along. Bottom of the mountain is where the leaders are working it hard. Behind them, looks like Costin is catching up with Bates there as well, and Black and Svensson are right in the mix too. So it's a good little four-way battle going on for the minor placings, but we're obviously going to be concentrating on the leadership because this is where the championship and of course the real action is, and waiting for them to come out onto the front straight. And effectively it's going to be one more lap before the point score comes into play. David usually gets a board from his dad down there as they come across the line, and once again it is the rapid machine at Dowd's out in front. Let's have a look at that gap. It's still only half a second, and another fastest lap from Twyford. Is that right, mate?
Yeah, 1 minute 40.903 there, but that's not to say that Dowd's is going very slow.
Don't think so.
40.974, so less than a tenth of a second.
Twyford now in the slipstream. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. He wants an extra 5 points. He's going to go down the inside of Park Corner. He's going to try and outbrake his rival. These two are quite friendly off the track there, and they respect each other's ability, and they're all very clean indeed now. There was that a move that came off, trying to see it round the back at the top of the mountain there. They're coming around Chris Curve. They are literally side by side round Chris Curve. I think that's Twyford on the inside. Dowds might have the advantage on the outside. He has indeed. Down through the gooseneck we come. Twyford trying to look on the outside. Oh, defensive there by Dowds, forces his rival to go out wide to have a bit of a pass. That ain't going to happen. Here we come up to the chicane. Is he going to have an opportunity here? No, there's no gap to be found. So one more opportunity before we go across the top of the mountain for Twyford. And again, Dowds is going defensive. He wants those points badly. He knows he needs them if he's going to keep this championship alive up until the last race of the season, which I think it really will be. No change at all. Costin is having a bit of a look on, that wasn't Bates actually, I think it was Steve anyway. But he's done a move down there. Yeah, looks like Dan Black's actually managed to get past in the front of that back bunch there. So a little bit of chopping and changing going on as we once again look towards Barn Corner to see the leaders come over. So heading towards the line, that's going to be Del Dowds leading the way. So there's 25 points in the bank. So Dowds now has a 5-point pullback on his rival. He's got to keep that going now for another 4 laps, and it's going to be a 10-point clawback. He'll be regretting the fact that there's nobody between himself and Twyford. Otherwise, that could be an 18-point clawback at the end of the race. But certainly Twyford doesn't want any clawback at all. He wants to even the balance up again. He's tucked in as tight as he can possibly go as they come down Park Straight. They're side by side all the way up Park Straight now. It's got to be Dowds down the inside. He's forcing his rival to go wide. That's not the ideal line, but you should get the drive off of Park Corner up towards Chris Curve. We'll wait and see as they disappear out of my sight. They're going to come around back into the top of Chris Curve. Twyford's leading. Twyford has indeed hit the front. There we go. It did work very nicely for him. He got the drive. Now what he wants to do is he needs to finish this second half of the race, and it will be as it was at the start of this race, which is definitely a big advantage to Twyford. Obviously, his rival is going to do what he can to pass it out. Are we seeing any fastest times there as they go through the split at the bottom, mate? Is Twyford gone purple at the bottom?
Well, the trouble with that one is that Dave Twyford...
Oh, he hasn't got the title, of course. No, you're right, mate. Thank you.
I'll tell you what it is, Keith. Del Dowds obviously came across the line leading the way, and he's obviously second. He's gone more purple in the first sector.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. You're right. Dowds has gone purple, and he was, as you say, behind Twyford. So Twyford's got even more purple. Absolutely. Well, we know it's not going to be a lap record pace because it's just the track is just too far away from it. They're in the tricky bit. Here they come onto the front straight once again. Call the ball over the line there. Tell me what the times are, mate.
Yeah, well, it's Dave Twyford over the line ahead of Del Dowds, but Del Dowds with a slipstream there, having a sniff up the inside there, but Dave Twyford just about holds on to it there. That is to say that Del Dowds will run a little bit wide there, and that will just hamper his momentum as he goes in towards Charlie's Evan. It's a 1 minute 40.056 for Dave Twyford on that lap, 7/10 of a second quicker than the number 22 of Del Dowds. Lindemann across the line now in what has become a lonely third place. Kev Lilly likewise in a lonely fourth place there as he comes across the line. But we've got a good battle, in fact, coming in towards the bottom of the mountain now for the minor placings. That's Colin Hall leading that particular one ahead of Seb Barron, but the race leaders then in towards Park Corner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're at the top end of the circuit again. I'm watching them come round, and it is Twyford now who's leading quite comfortably, to be fair. He's managed to get the hammer down exactly when he needed to. He's pumping his way through the gooseneck. and I have to say Dowds has got no answer for him, unfortunately. Sorry, Ethan, but your dad just can't match him at the moment. Dave Twyford is doing what he needs to do when he needs to do it. But the good news is it is going to finish even in the points by the time they both get to the line if it stays this way. And we're not too far from the line, of course, because they'll be getting the last lap in just a couple of laps' time. There's going to be 2 to go when they come across the line this time. Yeah, you're right about the minor placings being quite lonely. Poor old Kevin probably thinks he's on a track day on his own there, basically, like an MSV track day on a wet afternoon. He's down into Mansfield. He's a long, long way from the next bike, and in fact the 5th place man there, Dan Black, he's quite lonely too. Steve Costa, now that he's managed to get to the behind Dan Black there, he's also quite lonely. So Freddie Bate just drops down to 7th there ahead of James Svensson, our reigning Mini-Twin champion, of course. And James has broken the tradition of rookie Mini-Twin champions competing very hard for the top spot, because Dowds returned into the championship last year, and also the pace of Lindemann has meant that the top 3 is a bit of a lockout as the leaders come back past me. And I tell you what, Dowds is not giving up on this one. He is pushing on as hard as he can. The gap, I don't think, has barely changed. What was it over the line last time, mate?
0.597, so we're talking 0.6 of a second there. But interestingly enough, Dave Twyford has gone a 1 minute 38.954. And yeah, let's have a look there. So we're only around about 1.4 seconds from the lap record. And I think it's safe to say that these conditions are far from perfect.
You know, and we've got a yellow flag waving at Mansfield there, so there's going to be no opportunity to overtake down there, but there's no opportunity for Dell to overtake anyway, because he is not close enough to have a look. Yeah, you're right, we are far from perfect conditions here, and these two are just punching along as they need to do. But Dell is getting closer. That is a physically closer bike, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, we're into the bottom of the mountain now, over to the right-hand side. I'll watch them as they go over the top there. There goes Twyford as Lindemann makes his way in towards the chicane, I'm sure. Anyway, there he is, right on cue. But it's all eyes towards the duo at the front of this one. And when they come across the line this time, Keith, let's not forget, it will be the last lap. So Twyford leads it by 0.6 of a second as they came across the line the previous time around. Dowds went purple in the first sector on this lap then, so we're looking up towards Barn. There they are, side by side. They've got a slower rider in the mix as well, so it's 2 wide as they come across the line there. Del Dowds has the outside line there. Dave Twyford has the inside. They're going to be squeezed out there, but it's Dave Twyford who holds on to the lead there ahead of Del Dowds.
Dowds is serving notice. He's got the hurry up flag, not that he particularly needs it. He's going to try what he can. Unfortunately, he has dropped a couple of tenths of a second there. He's going to be punching his way out of Charlie's there. Twyford is tucked in as tight as he can. It's Dowds likewise. You want an exhibition of how to ride a motorcycle fast. Look at these two, the body language there, absolutely flying. Up the top of the circuit they go. I don't think Dowds is going to be close enough, but I tell you what, if anybody can suddenly pull a little bit of a gap from somewhere, you've got to think Dell will do it. He has definitely got his daggers on there. He is trying to find a way. There's a couple of slower bikes just going through Mansfield as the leaders are halfway through Chris Kerr. I don't think they're going to have anything to do with this race as we come down the hill. Dell is nowhere near close enough to challenge Twyford, but Dell did seem very quick through the chicane last time, and I'm wondering if those back markers might have a part to play in this, mate. They're quite slow. Here we come then, out of the chicane, back towards you. Is Dowds going to have a quicker look? He's not close enough, unfortunately. So it's going to be Dave Twyford leading the way across the top of the mountain. Let's hope those back markers are quick enough to escape, shall we?
Well, the back markers are just in towards Hall Bends now. Where leaders in towards Hall Bends now. So it's going to be very close there, maybe even the exit of Barn there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one there, but it certainly can either work for you or against you. No one knows that better than Dave Twyford and Del Dowds. But we're watching towards the last corner now, and will it be the number 1 or the 22 there, Twyford or Dowds? Here comes them slow riders. Here comes Dave Twyford then. Where is Del Dowds? Del Dowds is missing from this one.
Oh,
Dave Twyford across the line, and I can see Del Dowds is down at Barn. So Dave Twyford will take the victory. Del Dowds, unfortunately, down at Barn and out of the race. So
I'm guessing he gave it his last gasp. Desperate effort there, unfortunately. I don't believe it. I'm so gutted for Dell. I really am. His only consolation prize is he's picked up 25 points in that particular race. But this seems very hollow when he's just lost out 25 to his rival in the second half. I've no idea until what happened. Obviously, it's totally undecided. Dell will have his onboard camera, so we'll be able to review the footage later. But huge shame there for Del Dowds. It really is. So,
well, that means that Dave Twyford takes victory then, ahead of Dave Lindemann, and then this will be one for you there, Keith. Kev Lilly on the podium.
Excellent, good old Reverend Kevin. He hasn't had a whole lot of podiums this year because Twyford, Dowds and Lindemann pretty much had it locked out. In fact, 1 second place has been his sole reward so far this year for his effort. No one. Oh, I'm sorry, no, where am I looking? Yeah, Kev Lilly, yeah, 1 second place at Pembrey. That was in the tricky conditions, where unfortunately Dowds, again, the luck of